Okay, in our final segment for this lesson, we want to talk about how do humans impact rivers. So the first thing is going to be pollution, so that we dump a lot of stuff into rivers. And some of that pollution is a result of sewage, for example. Some of it is chemicals that are used in fertilizers, so that as rain washes across a farmer's field, all of those fertilizers and pesticides and things like that, that gets into the river. So we tend to pollute rivers. Okay, the next one is going to be dam construction. And one of the problems with constructing a dam across a river is it interferes with what fish do. So there are certain kinds of fish that need to swim upstream in order to lay their eggs. And so this is disrupted by a dam. So once you've built your dam, then those fish, they cannot get to the other side of the dam. So they have built very expensive miniature rapids to where the fish can jump from one level to the next and eventually get up to the top of the dam and then get into the lake, and then hopefully they will continue to swim upstream. But a lot of times this doesn't work. Okay, then you've got changing the course of a river. So we saw this in our previous segment with the Missouri River, where you started off with a river that might be meandering like this, and then by putting materials into it, you end up with a straight river that looks like that. Well, it has its own problems because now that you've straightened out the river, there's going to be more erosion occurring as a result of this. And also, since you're confining the water to this channel, eventually you're going to have a flood that is going to overtop the banks of this, and it's still going to flood this floodplain. Okay, another one is going to be overuse of a river, and so this is something that is occurring in the western part of the United States, where various states have agriculture that are taking water out of the rivers, which means that there is less water in those rivers downstream for the next state for their agriculture. And so there's a lot of controversy about water rights. So who owns the water? How much water can you take out of the river? And so forth. Okay, then you've got runoff and erosion. So every time that you build a house, you're covering up the soil that used to be absorbing all of that water that's falling on your roof. Every time that you build a parking lot, you're covering up that soil with concrete. So that means that when it rains, all of that water which used to soak into that soil is now stuck on the top of the concrete, and it's got to go somewhere. So that can increase the flooding further away from that concrete asphalt parking lot. All right, so let's take one more break, and when we come back, let's take a quiz over what you have learned.